Hello, you're watching Hotel Designs Live on demand. This session was recorded live at Minotti London on the 10th of August 2021. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Hotel Designs Live with me, Hamish Kilburn, the editor of Hotel Designs. So we're back again, taking over your screens for a fifth time with Hotel Designs Live. Don't you dare think about resizing me and dragging me to the corner of your monitor. I'm watching because we have a fantastic lineup of speakers and content for you that you will not want to miss. It's amazing how far we've come in just a year. If you followed our journey with Hotel Designs Live, then first of all, thank you. And you would have seen how we've evolved in such a short period of time. We launched this simple yet strong concept in June 2020 to really help keep the conversation flowing and the industry connected during lockdown. Well, since then, can you believe we've broadcasted more than 16 hours of content, and it's all available on demand on the Hotel Designs website. We've delved into topics such as sustainability, public areas, bathrooms, sound, art, basically you name a topic, and we've probably spoken about it on this platform. Today, we've invited a new cluster of world-renowned designers, architects, hoteliers, and developers to join us in a further 4 panel discussions to explore topics such as sensory design, sleep performance, surface tones, and social spaces. And we're broadcasting all of this from the comfort of the Minotti London showroom here in Fitzrovia, which, to be honest with you, feels like Hotel Design's second home, considering we've done so much work in this showroom over the last couple of years. The Italian furniture brand is today's headline sponsor, and I'm joined now by Anka Summerhill, the brand's managing director and creative director. Hi, Anka. How are you?
Hamish.
Welcome.
It's lovely to have you here.
So firstly, the Minotti's recently dropped its 2021 collection of indoor and outdoor furniture pieces. In a nutshell, what's different about this collection?
Well, the theme this year is very mid-century, but staying within the Minotti philosophy and the Minotti distinctive, elegance. And it's really exciting. As usual, it's a whole collection. It's not just a few pieces. And yeah, and I'm very excited because I dare I say it, it's nearly quite funky, trendy.
What I love about it is that it's so aesthetically pleasing. Obviously, it's Minotti furniture, but when you really learn about the design narratives that go into each piece, it must be really difficult to sort of find one hero product that you like best.
And it's always really hard to tell which is going to be the hero product in the new collection. But the one piece that really stands out for me this year is designed by Marcia Kogan from MK27. And it's very minimalistic, it's very architectural, it's absolutely stunning. Yeah, it's going to be our main piece in the window when we finally get it.
And one of our sessions today is exploring social spaces. In your opinion, will COVID-19 really change the way we experience these spaces in the future?
Yeah, I hate that question.
I know you do. Me too. I hate asking it. It's the elephant in the room.
I think initially there are, people have made some changes now because we had to with this spacing. But in the end, we're social animals, and I think we like being close together. And I think the vaccination program is working so well and so effective that I think we will go back to our old ways. I think the one good thing that's come out of this pandemic is that we have a new, maybe not new, but appreciation of the outdoor spaces, because we definitely have noticed a trend, or not a trend, but an increase in sales in outdoor furniture products, and architects and designers are definitely incorporating outdoor spaces more, and also trying to lose that boundary between indoor and outdoor, so it feels like one whole unit.
And that was certainly something that you guys were doing long before any of this happened.
Minotti has been abolishing that division between in and outdoor and making it look as one beautiful whole.
Yeah, of course. And we've done a lot of work here in the showroom. We've hosted a lot of events. We got very drunk and enjoyed ourselves, had a good time. I was standing on your sofas last time with your permission because I had clean shoes on.
You can.
Trying to get the audience's attention. Why is London such an important hub, and why is the Minotti London showroom such an integral space for the Minotti brand?
Well, I think London, design-wise, when you talk about furniture and construction, is a very important place in the world. I think London has probably the best architectural practices in the world based here. It's probably related to the fact that England has some very good architectural schools. I think London also has been a sort of a melting pot for a very long time, for centuries. And I think all those cultural influences really express themselves in really creative designs. With many international people being based here and working here, and England just seems to have that seems to be very popular internationally. I think that internationally they love that whole culture and heritage England has, and the creativity that the Brits have.
And you're really encouraging people to come and experience this space, because you can't really see or look at or specify the furniture without seeing it up close. And it's several lounges here, I guess.
I know it has to be seen, felt, sat on, touched,
hosted on.
Absolutely, yeah. We love using the showroom. We love receiving.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and thank you for being our headline sponsor. And I just wanted to echo, if you want to explore the 2021 collection in person, then get in contact with the showroom to book your appointment. I'm going to be in Milan with you guys next year as well, to really sort of experience what's new next year as well. So we look forward to that. Circling back to today's events, and here's what's coming up. At 9:30 to 10:30, we're looking at a design assault on the senses, where we'll be looking at the role of sensory design in the modern hospitality arena. That session is sponsored by Grower. At 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we're looking at designing the perfect night's sleep. So we have a sleep expert from Silent Night Group who are sponsoring the session, and a cluster of designers who will be exploring through lighting controls to bed specification, how we achieve the ultimate sleep performance. Again, that session is sponsored by Silent Night Group. At 12:30 to 1:30, we're looking at design beneath the surface. So for this session, we've gathered world-renowned designers and surface design experts to help us better understand the latest trends and materials that are on the market. And then finally, to conclude today's event at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we're looking at social spaces in 2021 and beyond, which is arguably the most relevant topic to be amplifying in today's climate. In the middle of these sessions, we'll be going to product watch pitch segments, where we'll take a few moments to look at the latest products and innovations that have launched around the topics that we're discussing. And Katie Phillips, our problem-solving publisher, is on hand to share in the chat with you all the links, so you can secure your space in the audience for these 4 sessions. So if you haven't pre-registered, don't panic or worry. You just need to click on those links and fill out your details, and you'll automatically be able to access those sessions. While we're on the topic, there is a live Q&A and a chat function running throughout all today's panel discussions, so please feel free to use both. Before we go any further, I wanted to just pause and take a moment to thank Cube, our first-class production team, who have been such a valuable asset during this time. The work that they do behind the scenes is immeasurable, and it makes all the difference. In fact, we do have a sneak peek of what went into today's setup over on our Instagram. So if you want to see what goes on while the cameras were not recording, then head over to our channel to view today's story. It's always a big rush towards the end. And please don't think that the work we do with Cube is limited to Hotel Designs Live. We have a number of exciting projects coming up with the team, including inviting the squad to become our official videographers at the Britlist Awards 2021 award ceremony, which will be Hotel Designs' first truly live and in-person event. And as you can imagine, we're all very excited about that. The deadline to apply to this year's awards has been and gone, but we have reopened the entries to give you one final chance to apply until tomorrow, end of play. It's worth noting that entering is completely free, and all shortlisted designers, architects and hoteliers and developers will receive a complimentary ticket to attend the awards, which takes place on November the 3rd at Proud Embankment. So Katie is now sharing the link to the application forms in the chat. And if you didn't want to apply, that's okay too. You can still purchase tickets. So for designers, architects, hoteliers and developers, they're £20 plus VAT per head. And for anyone else, they're £150 plus VAT per head. It's going to be a great evening. And Katie is sharing the links to both of those links in the chat now. And if you want to be kept up with all the action on the editorial desk, then you can follow our social media. We're at Hotel Designs and I'm at Hotel Design Editor. And while you're there, why not sign up to our newsletter to receive all the latest news? Katie is now sharing that link in the chat. That's enough for me. I think it's time to meet our first guests as we start our first session of the day, a design assault against the senses, which aims to take a deeper look at sensory design and the experience in hotel design and hospitality. This session is sponsored by Grower, a brand which actually is using the senses to innovatively and sustainably, I hate to add, create authentic bathroom solutions. Following our successful session of Hotel Designs Live in February, where we looked at sound's role in hotel design, and after reading a mountain of press releases recently that all reference sound, touch, and even smell to evoke a deeper meaning of wellness and well-being, it felt really fitting and apparent for us to position this topic under the spotlight. It comes as the industry, albeit slowly, is starting to reopen and reconnect. So please welcome our panelists, Damian Saint, Music Director for W Hotels for Asia Pacific. Hi, Damian. Robbie, founder of Gorgeous Group. Diana Espejo, Director of Technical Services for the EMEA region for Six Senses Hotels, Resorts and Spas. And finally, Justin Wells, CEO of Wells International. Hi, everyone. How are we doing?
Good morning.
Good, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
So I want to start by simply asking the question, why have we waited until now to really explore the benefits of senses in design and hospitality? And this is open to anyone.
Well, Hamish, I might challenge that because I wonder if we're only just starting to see the benefits now. I think in design, you know, we're designers from all different parts of the industry. We've always been striving to extend, you know, what the positive outcome is for the guest experience or the user. And, you know, there's many industries like retail, for instance, has many years been considering sensory design to positively benefit, the people, the consumers. So I actually wonder if it's only now that you're challenging.
Is it becoming more accessible now to use, products that highlight sensory design, but also, you're designing for clients to really get on board with using it without it going into that gimmicky territory, though?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of things which have come on, in the last 24 months. Obviously, with this pandemic, there's a heightened awareness of many things about reconnecting, well-being, wellness, mindfulness, etc. And I think that's probably just amplified our appetite maybe for some of this understanding and technology and demand. So I think it's just going to be an ongoing type of research and implementation. And, with many of the sort of panelists today, they'll have their own perspectives on this. But in terms of interior design and as an architect, I think we've always been trying to research and understand how we could create a better, more holistic approach to, sensory design for our users and guests for decades.
Yeah, for sure. And Damian, you come at this from a sound perspective because you are the sound expert, if you like, for W Hotels. Tell us a bit more about your journey and how that evolved into what you do today.
My background comes from the DJ world. I started in the UK back in '99, but I was soon whisked off to live in Bangkok to work for Ministry of Sound. That was the start of my Asia journey a very long time ago. Then fast forward several years and I ended up in Bali as a resident DJ playing sunsets at the W in Bali. And then my boss at the time, he moved to Ibiza. So I stepped into the music curator role, which then was, overseeing the on-property music, playlisting what was right for different areas, different times of day, booking small local events, and gradually learning more about the role, about the brand, and just growing into the role. And then, we grew into doing festivals and large-scale events.
Sounds
and
like you've
studios.
partied your
I'm
way
in one of
through
our
your...
recording studios.
It sounds like you've partied your way through your career.
It does sound that way.
You've done it right.
That would be right.
But where you're at now, I guess, I mean, I'm not criticizing your career path at all, but, you know, maybe now it's a little bit more, you come to a bit more of a meaningful destination whereby the work that you do and the input that you create into the brand really goes forward and works into the design as well. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
Yeah. So I was eventually promoted to regional music director for Asia Pacific, and that was when I started to grow more away from the parties, as it were, and learning more about the strategy for the brand, and working with design teams in, you know, aesthetics and senses, and just those other fields, learning from those people and seeing it from a broader perspective, which has helped me learn greatly.
Yeah, of course. And Diana, welcome. I know that you've recently come back from Ibiza because Six Senses have just opened their beautiful hotel there. I guess my question for you to start is, I know that on the board, Six Senses is making its arrival into the urban environment. The Six Senses brand has always been known for being this beach wellness retreat, and it has that those connotations. How do you then, and are you using the sensory experience to try and bring that experience into the urban landscape? Would you?
Thank you, Hamish. Hi everyone. Yeah, I mean, like you say, Six Senses, it's a company that started in 1995, and we're just a bunch of people looking to do something quite special. And now we've grown quite a bit, and we're coming, like you say, not only into the European market but also into the urban area. So it's a challenge, but we've got lots of fun trying to figure out how do we translate our mission and our core values into different environments. So I think the beauty of these is because our core values and two of the biggest pillars of our company are wellness and sustainability are really universally applicable. So we constantly challenge our consultants to really think outside of the box and see how can we deliver these. And we do often use the sensorial experience, not necessarily only throughout design, but also we like to create quite unique experiences. For example, in our resort in Ziggy Bay, at the moment of check-in and arrival, you can either drive through and we'll take you to reception, or we can stop by a hill and we can paraglide you to the reception, and then you can, have a memorable arrival experience. So how amazing is that? And then in Ibiza, specifically, it was quite a lot of fun. I was there for 3 months for pre-opening, and the energy was amazing. But really see how these values translated beautifully into that specific location. We're coming to London as well. We're going to be in Whiteley's. We have an amazing resort, an urban resort, urban hotel. And one of the concepts that we're having in Whiteley's is we're creating our Six Senses Place, which is a unique members club. It's really, really focused on sustainability and well-being. So this is how we're seeing, we're just constantly evolving. We don't necessarily have, we do have brand guidelines, but we don't have lookbooks, or we don't have a secret formula that works for everywhere. We work together.
I think that's the same with a lot of brands as well. A lot of the brand guidelines have, somewhat smudged over the years because things change and things evolve, and also they have to really reflect the neighborhoods they're in, these hotels, and it's so important. Robbie, the Gorgeous Group doesn't really say what it does on the tin, I don't think. So you're an F&B design expert when it comes to creating these experiences. How through F&B would you say sensory experience is being utilized, and what more can we do in these food and beverage spaces?
I think we design experiences, whether it's food and drink, or whether it's workspace, or whether it's theatre, or retail. I think, telling stories, is a fully immersive, emotional experience. You have to look at all the senses. Everyone gets obsessed by the visual way something looks. And actually, when you get into it, the smell, the touch, the sound, the taste, all those things are equally as important to deliver a 360 experience. So I don't think you can just think about, and now, it's even more important. I know when we worked on Dishoom over 10 years ago, we wanted to bring the spirit of Bombay to London, and thinking about, it wasn't just about the food, but it was about what actually happened before you actually arrived, the outside, the smell, and as you entered, all your senses got absolutely, wow, what was going on here? And then there was the pictures, there was the music, there was the incense, there was the smell of the food, the smell of the chai, and then you had the food, and then actually, what you serve the food on, what you serve the drinks in, and all those different elements. Wherever you looked, it was like a sensory overdose. And I think that's really important when you're telling stories. You've got to think beyond the way something looks, and think about the user, the guest, or in the workspace. What do they feel like? Because if they feel magical and amazing and joyous, they're going to go away and they're going to talk about it in a rich and deeper way, and that becomes social currency. So we can't just look at experience about how something looks. The senses and how you bring the experience to life through storytelling and all those different elements, smell, touch, sound, taste, whatever, is so important. And we spend a lot of time working with designers and architects and soundscapers and music content providers and chefs and baristas and wine sommeliers, create all those different elements. And it is a 360 experience completely.
Yeah. And Justin, obviously, as designers, you're trying to evoke those experiences. When do you think things really sort of, or when was it more accessible for you to really use the senses in design? When we kind of, I'm guessing the answer is when collaborations started to become more popular and more apparent in the industry, and you were able to, bring together music creators and other experts in other fields. When was that, though, in a timeline sense?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I was designing nightclubs and bars. It's similar background to Damian, maybe 20 years ago. But I think then we were being very experimental.
You're in the same.
We were sort of challenging. Maybe we cross paths, Damian. But I think when we were able to experiment a long time ago, we were talking about collaborating with fashion designers, certainly with graphic designers of the time, breaking a few rules because we were kind of being the first in a few different things, trying to pioneer different kinds of architecture and interior design. And I think back, I would say early 90s was when we were certainly trying to be a bit experimental about hospitality design, which is really, one of our emphasis, or what our Wells International's focus is. And I think that kind of, as an industry, is able to leach into other sectors, the commercial world, even as we were just talking about then. So I think probably the 90s. And then from there, technology grew rapidly with the internet and obviously research and the ability to find out more information, across cultures, geographical reach. You find out what's happening on the other side of the world, maybe bring influences back. And that rapidly happened in the early 90s, in my experience.
And it seems to have sort of been pivotal at different sort of cultural shifts with behaviour. No more so are we having a cultural shift as we are right now. What do you think will be the result of this in regards to designers really sort of touching upon and utilising the sensory experience in all areas of the hotel?
Oh, look, this is a great question because, there's many...
You keep saying that, it's very flattering.
No, but it is because but there's so many stakeholders wanting to garner some insight into where it's going as an industry, and operators are trying to be, they're trying to look at their inventory. They're trying to understand, what directions strategically they can take some of their hotels and obviously speak to their owners. But then there's the actual, from the guest experience. It's moving so quickly in terms of different kinds of policy, etc. So some of the things that I think, in answering your question, I think we're going to continue the idea of personalization in hospitality, hyper personalization. I think is a focus, and obviously how sensory design can cater to that demand. This is a sort of a generalist statement because obviously there's so many segments in hospitality. F&B we spoke about. There's so many other different parts to it. But I think, when people have the opportunity for choice and they can curate their own sensory outcomes, that demand will continue to go through, certainly through luxury and premium brands as well. And that demand we're seeing already, trickle all the way down through to the F&B experience and other different parts of the hotel. So I just think the personalization, the ability to curate senses in a way, you could imagine hotels in the future might have a sensory concierge where you could possibly be able to, create the kind of sensory touch points that you would like to have in your time in the hotel. And I think that's something that's probably a positive byproduct of, the pandemic, and obviously a reassessment of the positive attributes of sensory design in hospitality.
Diana, would you agree with that? Would you agree that's something that you're looking at as a brand, and moving forward brand standards, that's where you're looking to sort of focus the attention on personalization and creating those authentic moments for guests, and unexpected moments, I'm assuming. Yeah, no,
absolutely. Not only through, beautiful design that's obviously very visually appealing, but also through really utilizing your senses. And for example, we love to do aromatic plants that we can also use. So whenever we get the opportunity, either in gardens or even inside in interior spaces, using aromatic plants, and you suddenly are walking by and you're like, oh, that smells amazing. And it's not necessarily anything artificial. It's just the way landscape has been designed. Funny enough, we have in our spas sensory treatment suites. So again, this is a slightly different topic because it's more connected to the spa world. But we do have specific equipment and a specific type of treatments that are designed to utilize all of the senses. So you can go on a retreat on our spa experience where you can really overexplode, your senses. And because we believe that is deeply connected to well-being, and obviously it takes the whole wellness segment to another dimension. And also through F&B as well. We've got our programs, Eat with Six Senses. We've got a program also Sleep with Six Senses. We've got all sorts of different programs that are, again, part of the experiential package for the guests. But really, it is a big focus for us, the whole sensory experience. Yeah, agree.
I think Damian. Sorry, go on, Robbie.
No, I think also we, as a company, we have found that we have to design around the human needs and design, what they are looking for, as opposed to how something looks, and I think that's really key. And that's the same in food and drink, whether it's hotels or whether it's retail or whether it's the workplace. How someone feels in those spaces, and how happy they can be, or how productivity, how they can drive productivity is critical to the success of that design. So instantly now, especially with what's actually happened over the last 18 months, that human touch and how we make people feel in those spaces has become so much more important. And at the same time, we just need to be able to tell our brand story, as Diana was saying, what are our values, and let them just drip through everything we're doing, every single element of that design.
I completely agree with you. And also, I think that clients are more aware, consumers are more aware, the behaviors change. People now expect a lot more than they used to. And what I'm interested to ask you, Robbie, is you work with designers a lot who actually come at the design from the same perspective as you, really wanted to create that meaning. But are they ever surprised with what more you can do, being the expert in that field, to what they originally proposed to their clients or proposed to you?
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I remember years ago working with Andre Putman on a hotel, and I remember we were designing this beautiful room service experience in this extremely wonderful hotel. And I remember she wanted the quietest trolley experience in the world, and I wanted the most amazing theatrical experience. And we had to work it together. And even today, even designing, restaurants and hotels and cinemas today, I have to put myself in the shoes of the guests and think about what I'm going to touch, what am I going to hear, what am I going to smell, and what am I going to taste, and how am I going to taste all those things. And then where does that start? It has to start outside the building as you're entering. There has to be a decompression zone. There has to be an entry. There has to be an engagement piece. There has to be that wonderful ecstasy. Wow, it's incredible. Then when you leave, and then also how your senses get stimulated when you've left. What actually happens to you? Do you get something sent to you? Is there an email? whatever. So instantly, and I think now we're in this world of digital elements come in and support the design. So that is really important. So I spend a lot of time as a conductor bringing all these elements together, whether it is, you know, the designers and the architects and the M&E guys and the content guys and the, you know, it's really, really important that, you know, my job is to bring all these people together and share the vision of what is this guest experience. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, totally. From a branding perspective, I genuinely think that it was W Hotels that really sort of started to use music to really amplify their brand. How has that helped Damian really sort of solidify that brand ethos, and also like the sort of energy around that brand as well? What was the power of music in that, and when did that change, and how did that shift, and how did
That's
it
a great question, Hamish.
It was off the cuff.
It was.
It's leading
but,
to another
you know,
one in a minute. Hang on.
No, it really is a good question. I came in after the brand had already started, and I learned as I went along my career path with the W. Their passion points are music, design, fashion.
Yeah. And the Aloft, I guess, the Loft hotels, that's obviously sits alongside W. And in my opinion, or what
W's sister
W's
brand.
more, yeah, W is more fashion and music, whereas Aloft is more sort of music and then, you know, around it. That's certainly what I got the impression when I went to the opening party in Munich of the Aloft. It literally, the lobby just turned into a nightclub. It was ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. And I'd say Aloft is a little more subtle than W. W really make some noise about it. How would I say it solidified and been part of the brand? I don't know. It's just part of the brand. I think
it then taps into the celebrity culture. And I think naturally it just occurred at the right time. I think it then sort of taps into the celebrity culture of having guest appearances and, you know, events, and it naturally just, you know, happened at the right time, I guess, with the evolution of Instagram, social media, and everything. It just sort of like powered together and created this.
I agree.
Piece. And then I think also when Marriott took over from Starwood, it then allowed it to, you know, to then become or to utilize music in other brands in their own rights.
Bigger partnerships, wider reach.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that kind of leads me on to my next question, which is kind of steered towards Justin. But is it more difficult, or is it more, or do you welcome it more when the brand standards are so strong, and when, you know, music is such a core value, when you're then creating the sensory experience? Because I know that you've worked in lifestyle as well as luxury, Justin, and I just think it must be really daunting going into a project where they want you to break boundaries and just, you know, go all at it, but then not be gimmicky at the same time. Where's the balance in all of that?
Look, I think, yeah, I mean, this is about a process of understanding the brand's, you know, pillars or the touch points. You know, how much can we bend and move parts of the guidelines? Because it's not a rule book, it's guidelines, you know. So we ask those questions as, you know, part of our research early on. And a bit like what Robbie's saying, trying to understand, I guess, the ultimate spirit of a space and how a brand or a hotel is going to be orchestrated and what the flow is. We asked the operator, you know, very early on in a workshop sort of forum, you know, could we try this? You know, would you allow us to sort of deviate away from the guidelines? So I think we see that as great challenges, positive challenges, sorry, I should say. And I think that's part of being a creative designer. I think you want to sort of break a few little rules along the way, and you want to rebuild the rules back in a kind of an interesting and creative and inventive way. I think that's sort of part of a creative process that we sort of adhere to. There's also different sort of segmentation of brands as well. I mean, it's really worth noting, you know, you've just mentioned Marriott. So they've got this sort of, you know, distinctive luxury where W falls into, and then they've got this sort of more classic kind of, you know, luxury brands. And there's different approaches, you know, even within the luxury segment. You know, what would be more appropriate for one? I think you've got a lot more latitude, you know, in the more distinctive luxury brands like W, etc. So I think we do that as part of our research and work out how far can we move, how far can we bend. And I think, you know, philosophically speaking, it's really from there is the beginning of the sort of ideation process.
I think you know, in London we've just seen the Nomad open, and it's an incredible property. And you look at New York and you look at LA and you look at Vegas. But this is the first time I've actually, experienced the Nomad brand through the eyes of London. And I think it's extremely interesting because, it's, for people who've never been to a Nomad, they probably think this is one of the most amazing lifestyle, London experiences. And it's everything from, the styling, the lighting, the graduation of the lighting, the graduation of the music, how everything just flows into one. Even the library, when you go into the library, those books have been carefully curated. They're not about buying book by the meter. Someone's really thought about what's actually going to go into that library and who's going to use that library. And I think when you come to the food and the drink and all those storytelling elements there, all the senses are completely and utterly blown away, but in a very natural and a very sort of seamless way. And it feels very, human and naturalistic, not something which is contrived or created in a brand guideline. And I think that's really important. You've got to look at brand guidelines, absolutely. And as Justin says, there are guides, but you've got to make them local. You have to make it locally relevant because the guests using those spaces today, more than ever, are going to be your local guests. So Six Senses and Whiteley's and Queensway has to be so much more locally relevant to people like me who live in Notting Hill, so they will use it rather than just the Six Senses guest who travels around the world.
Absolutely. And I love in that hotel as well how they've been able to create those boundaries with the bookcases and it's still open and you can still walk away through and it's not cornered off and you do feel like you can just walk in and have a coffee or and a glass of fizz as I did the other day at a client meeting. It was very nice.
What makes that hotel very special as well is the team who work there know how to work within the parameters of that design.
Yeah, and it goes all the way through as well. Absolutely. I mean, it goes right down to the uniform as well, for sure. And we're going to go live to our product watch pitch in just a few moments' time. But before we do, I've just got one final question to sort of position this back to bathrooms, which is kind of where I see the most change at the moment is happening, certainly with the products that are being launched, as we'll hear in a minute. But what do you think, and it's maybe a question for Justin first and Diana probably for you as well, but what do you think sensory design's role is in these spaces moving forward?
Yeah, we have a philosophy around, green first, black second. And just to explain what that means, that the green first approach is, what's the sustainable qualities, characteristics about that particular product? Is it something we want to investigate more time in, research in, and hopefully implement? And obviously, what are the sensory experiences that the guest could get, from that particular product, for instance? The black second approach is obviously, black, we refer black as design's trend. And obviously then how can we creatively implement that into our particular designs? So we use that sort of sequencing as a kind of as a rule book. And that's the sort of way, there's some great suppliers that we do research with, and they're obviously very kind to share their time about their products. We actually kind of approach it in that particular way. We want to know, firstly, the characteristics about wellness and, obviously what's good for the planet. But secondly, is it cool? Is it something that's original? Is it something that I want to use in a particular brand or in a particular hotel or something quite different? So I think that's the sort of way we approach it. And
Diana, it must be quite nice to be able to look at the market and there to be so much on offer now when it comes to products that are tapping into sensory design experience. Is there anything that's really sort of sparking your interest on the market at the moment?
And I think it's just innovation, and to go back to what Justin was saying just now, it's sustainability comes first for us. So obviously making sure that the water efficiencies are studied but without compromising the experience of having an amazing shower. I mean, this is something that we love to have an amazing shower, love to have an amazing bath, love to have, not only beautiful taps, but make sure that the quality of the water, it's great. Like you can still have the same water pressure. So we love projects that are well engineered. And we also love any innovations. We're really, really open to I don't know if it's related to the sensory experience though, but for example, we'd love to have, because we don't do individual bottles anymore in our hotels. We reuse bottles, we clean them. We've got water bottling machines and little water bottling. We used to have water bars in some of our other destinations, but We love to have taps where we can get, chilled water or hot water. So this is something that we really like. So just really open to innovations and to really enhance the wellness dimension on guest rooms. So yeah, I don't know if that responds to the question, but
no, I think it tees in really nicely just to realize that it's not just about, you can't talk about sensory design without talking about other touch points, and you can't talk about the other touch points without talking about sensory design either. And it's about the complete package, which hopefully we'll be able to define by the end of Hotel Designs Live today, because we've got so many sessions. So we're going to go live to our product watch pitch partners now. So if speakers wouldn't mind just turning off their cameras and muting their microphones, and we'll then welcome in all of our product watch pitch partners. And we're going to start with a video. We're going to start with Carl Lennon from Grower, our session sponsor. Hi Carl, how are you doing?
Hi everybody, and I feel like I don't have to do a product watch pitch. It feels like Deanna and Justin just did one.
I know.
For me there.
Well, it's great, isn't it? When design is really sort of, especially with sustainability, it's such a pillar for you guys. We've done a lot of work with you recently, and any topic that we touch with Grow always comes back to sustainability, which I think is really wonderful. And you guys go beyond to ensure that's the case. So Carl, you can start with your product watch pitch. I can start timing you from now if you like.
Excellent. So thank you very much. And like just there, it's a pleasure to be part of the discussion on the senses, which is absolutely relevant to a new sub-brand that Grow has launched, Spa. Spa is Sanus per Aquam, which the meaning behind that is health through water. And that's a really important topic for us as a brand, as an organization, and how we use that consciously as well too. So we have a short video here that we wanted to share with you guys, and hopefully that explains this a little bit more.
There was Grow there. Thank you, Carl, for that. So up next, we have Benholm Group, and we've got a video that we're going to play now.
Hello, I'm delighted to introduce you to the Benholm Group. We're specialists in creative plant and floral design, working closely with interior designers and clients in the corporate, hospitality, hotel and spa sectors. I'm Adrian Bine, and today I'm going to demonstrate how you can use real living plants to create a true sensory experience. We've all heard the term biophilic design. It's to do with the fact that as humans we have an inbuilt connection with nature, helps us feel safe, relaxed, rejuvenated. But there's so much more to biophilic design than just adding plants. Natural daylight, the air quality, the acoustics, natural finishes, etc. But I believe that plants and greenery play a vital part in every biophilic space. Creative planting can elevate your interiors. Bringing nature inside through lush planted greenery will promote wellness, a feeling of being surrounded by nature. And at Benholm we can transform these concepts and ideas into stunning reality. For over 25 years we have pioneered the use of plants and florals for interiors, not only as eye-catching focal points, but also to promote the natural health benefits that being surrounded by living plants can bring, sometimes referred to as forest bathing. We've recently brought this concept to the forefront of luxury hotel design with our collaboration on Le Chambre Vert. Our brief was to turn a modern hotel room into an immersive, natural, biophilic in-room spa experience. Our expert design consultants transformed the hotel room with flourishing plants to improve the visual and climatic conditions of the space, help clean the air, increase oxygen and humidity, and when combined with the CBD wellness rituals and soundscape in the room, provide a healthy feeling of calm and restfulness, and as one guest said, the recipe for a perfect night's sleep. Benholm have created a wide range of stunning plant and floral installations in hotels, spas, restaurants, outdoor dining areas and for one-off events throughout the UK, and provide an ongoing maintenance service too. We are at the forefront of the latest trends, and our team are bursting with creative ideas using all types of plants and flowers that will delight and inspire. You can trust us to protect your brand and to set you apart from your competition. We look forward to helping you realise the potential of plants in your own projects very soon.
That was Bargh Group there with some fantastic experiential spaces. We're moving on now to Stuart from Utopia Projects. Are you there, Stuart? Hi.
I am. Good morning,
How are you
Hamish.
doing?
Yeah, fine, thanks. How's everyone?
All
Nice to
good,
see
thank
you all on
you. All
screen.
good. Absolutely. So very excited for your pitch.
So good morning, everyone. Utopia Projects are a company that work alongside design teams, clients, hoteliers, specifying and supplying all aspects of bathroom and washroom materials. We work in partnership with design teams to your brief to provide project specification and a full technical and cost breakdown of all the project requirements that are needed for bathrooms and washrooms. We recommend only branded products from leading industry manufacturers to bring you the best products that meet your requirements, saving you as a design team valuable time. Utopia Projects continue supporting you in assisting with installation training, project scheduling, and with the nominated contractors so that the project from concept to completion is covered. And even after the project is completed, we assist with the building maintenance teams long after with our dedicated hotel spares team who will assist with ongoing maintenance issues. Our services to the design industry are free of charge. Where is the catch? I hear you say, well, there's only one. It's communication. We need to talk about your project very early in the project life to be able to develop a working practical specification with you. So whether you're creating bathrooms as sensory spaces through sight, sound, touch and scent, or creating luxury spaces to regenerate the mind, the body and the soul, or designing in simply hygiene and freshness in a necessary bathroom function, let us shower you with our expertise and our experience. You can then relax, bathing in the knowledge that your project will be both beautiful in form and lasting in function, allowing you to flush away the stress of bathroom design and planning. Talk to Utopia Projects. Together we create.
Thanks so much, Stuart. And one thing I just wanted to add is that Utopia Projects is a completely free of charge service for designers. Designers such as Martin Brudnitsky, Goddard Littlefair use their services, and it really is, I genuinely believe, the best way to specify products for the best prices as well. So thank you, Stuart. And moving on now to Frank Light. So Mark, how are you doing?
Good morning, Hamish. I'm well.
You're a veteran with Hotel Designs Live. I believe that you've been a product watch pitch partner for every single one. So thank you so much.
We have. It's a marvelous way to reach out to your audience. Thank you.
Thank you. And your pitch starts now, Mark.
Thank you for that introduction. As we shine a spotlight on evoking a deeper meaning of wellness and well-being within the hospitality industry, Frank Light is excited to share with you our latest development in LED technology. Our L11 tunable white light engine. This product is an innovative and unique take on a traditional candle lamp, designed and manufactured at our factory in Milton Keynes and tested in our in-house laboratory. This technology offers a smooth transition between amber and cool white from 1700 to 3650 Kelvin. Human-centric lighting is a way of bringing the natural changes of light intensity and color temperature indoors. The correct lighting can be used to significantly improve an individual's mood and is thus a great tool to evoke well-being. Our clients now have the capability to easily control the transition of light color temperature wirelessly through an app or hardwired within a building management system. With a dimming range from 100 down to 1%, clients are able to create the perfect ambience with a simple touch of a button, whilst providing customers the ultimate sensory experience. This technology has been replicated into the manufacturing of our LED plates used in our extension woven shade family and custom manufactured luminaires. Franklight manufactures a wide range of modern, stylish, and traditional ceiling and wall fittings, incorporating emergency technology, as seen here in the hotel in Liverpool. This essential functionality, uniquely hidden, allows clients still able to comply with health and safety regulations and provide guests with the ultimate luxury experience. Thank you for the opportunity to share our latest developments with you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And I'm guessing all of that innovation has only been possible through your technology and research and development in-house with Franklight. Is that right? You have that chamber, don't you? That light chamber, you're able to
That's right.
change.
We've got a fantastic gurney photometer that allows us to make sure everything works exactly as it's needed, and the clients, the designers, get exactly what they want on their projects.
Amazing. I think it's so integral now when personalization and bespoke products are so demanded as well. So thank you so much to our product watch pitch partners. If you wouldn't mind switching off your cameras now, muting your microphones, and we'll welcome back our speakers. One thing I just wanted to point out is we've had a question in on the Q&A. Please do, if you want to send over questions, do so. One very much relates to one of our product watch pitch partners just there, which was Benholm Group. And that is that I can see Hamish, Dan and Justin have some fabulous plants behind them. This is from Emma Donovan. How important does the panel consider including natural elements like landscape and native plants in hotel design to complement the other elements? I think that's a great question. And that's from Emma. So does anyone want to sort of pick that up? Justin, I want to know more about your plants.
Sure. It's actually quite funny. Most people often pick up my helmet over there, but the plant gets it's dried. Emma, the question, it's imperative. You know, we can't bring enough landscape into a hotel or any sort of interior design enough. The challenge we have, obviously, working in different parts of the world is, you know, what's appropriate, what's the right species. We you know, as designers, we care very much about the visual, you know, the look, the aesthetic of the plant species, but obviously the underlying consideration is the benefits of having, you know, I guess biophilia, the approach of connectedness again to landscape, but obviously the healthy results of actually having that. I think one of the things that we are trying to always do is be very inventive with interior landscaping, certainly around our F&B offerings. And, you know, just again, how does interior landscaping lean towards a particular brand's positioning as well? We're doing we're doing a few new hotel brands at the moment that we're creating with the operators. And so you'd be surprised, they haven't really considered interior landscaping yet. And we announced this as what are your thoughts, or how would you like us to approach that? And it's actually, it is an interesting conversation to open up, but imperative, and we must continue to always try and bring that in, Emma.
I think also through materials as well. Dan, I wanted to come to you because one of the questions earlier was, how are you going to inject that wellness, that kind of beachside resort, or the branding that Six Senses is known for in an urban landscape? And I guess one of the answers would be really looking at materials, and when that comes to furniture, when that comes to, you know, surface design as well, to really ensure that you're bringing the outdoors in meaningful ways, I guess. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think in terms of materiality, we like to source as much as local as possible, with an ethos of reducing our carbon footprint, but also we like to source items that we know are going to be durable. So materiality and the quality of the materiality is extremely important, as well as the more practical aspects of it, maintenance and durability, and is it a Trevira? So, you know, all of these things we need to take into consideration when we come to an urban environment, which it was not as complicated to do it in as perhaps a smaller and more modest resource. But when we come to an urban environment, and we're having to you know, comply with certain regulations, it's extremely important to keep the same well-being aspect to it, to do it with a sustainable approach, but equally try to, you know, to stay true to the locality. So yeah, it's very important, materiality. Yeah.
Absolutely. And well, I'm going to come to you, Damian, just purely for location as where you are. But do you think there's a geographical divide in what's acceptable, and when it comes to injecting sensory design, is it more accepted in certain regions over others, certain cultures more than others? Would you say that it kind of started in the East and moved its way over West, really injecting the sensory design in a hotel experience?
I don't think so. First of all, I've spent the majority of my career over in Asia, so I can't say what it's like in London or the UK, for example. But no, I think it's
at the moment.
Yeah, same here. We're blocked off from everybody. No, I don't think so. I think it's equally as important as everywhere, and each territory or region can inspire the other.
Yeah. And Justin, just going back to like materials. So are there any materials that that come onto your radar? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. Are there any materials that come onto your radar recently where you're just like that ticks all the boxes? It kind of, feel aesthetically pleasing, it feels great, it's durable, it works. Is there anything that's sort of come onto your radar recently?
We do a lot of research. It's ongoing. I've got a librarian. She's scouring the world for something that's quite innovative. There's sort of two trains of thinking. We're going into a world of technology-centric, I guess, responses to innovation, but also, in the space of sensory design and wellness, we're also going a bit analog. We care again about touch, taste, etc., and smell. So my librarian, she's always trying to find something that's quite innovative. Recently, we've discovered some tiles which are made from recycled computers. So obviously, you just in terms of an inventive way of coming up with something that can be cradle to cradle again. So I think that's probably one of the things that I'm really excited about in the last couple of years, is about with innovation, how can we benefit the planet? How can we also be original in our approach to sort of unusual material selection? And I actually love the stories behind some of the selections around. Well, actually, you've seen some of the well-documented, I guess, reclamation of, plastics in the ocean and what we can do with that. It's the spirit of that sort of thinking about, any kinds of new material innovation that really excites me. And I think it's ultimately, there's a green thread of sustainability that we'd love to kind of explore.
Sorry, just adding to that as well. I think because of the last 18 months, we've been obsessed with this sort of world of video and Zoom. I think we've got touch hunger, and touch hunger is massive. It's huge. We want to touch everything. We want to touch people. We want to touch things and objects, tactility. Everything is amazing. And let's not forget that wonderful thing as well called fun. Let's not we can't forget about the fun element, the happiness thing, the thing you get when you touch things and you go into spaces and there's this amazing sensory hit. So that bit is really important. Happiness is key to this. So let's not just get so, bogged down in just doing the sensory bit without thinking about the ultimate, output as well. But definitely hunger, touch hunger, I'm desperate for.
How much fun can the consumers take? Where's the limit in all of that? How far can we take this?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I was looking at a design of a restaurant in Mexico this morning, and it felt like a Maison Margiela sort of store, and it was pretty immersive, and it had a sort of a meats theme to it. And I just wanted to, it was very Darwin-esque as well. It felt like going into the V&A. And I think that the idea of going into those spaces where you can pick things up and you can touch and you can smell and you can eat and you can have a special plate or a special glass, or and the music and the sound and the heat and the temperature and all those things, we're desperate to get back out the world and just experience. So yeah,
I completely agree. We've got a question here from Courtney Mark, and that is quite a long one. Light by nature has an inevitable impact on our body and mind through multiple variations. As a lighting designer, we are seeing that our clients are becoming more responsive to the use of lighting design that is is tuned to your circadian rhythms. This was going to be my last question, actually, particularly in guest rooms. My question is, how important do you think that is first? And second, do you feel that it has a place in public spaces as well? And I kind of want to add a third element to that. And are the products that are currently on the market that offer this circadian rhythm, are they accessible for designers to specify them into a hotel? So 3 questions there. What do you think of circadian rhythm? Does that have a place in hotel design? Second questions, do you feel like it has a space in public areas as opposed to purely in the bedroom, where it's going to be utilized obviously for sleep performance, which will be our panel discussion after this? And thirdly, are they accessible as products yet?
Look, if no one's wants to grab that, I mean, for me, I know Courtney, so hi, Courtney. Yeah, I think it's very clear that we're trying to, you know, because the theme here is around sensory design, and in guest rooms, yeah, we definitely like the idea of trying to push as much of that kind of technology opportunity as we can. I think it's important, you know, in terms of the well-being, and obviously, you think of a time when we used to travel around the world, you know, freely, you know, different time zones. It's actually just such a benefit, you know, from that kind of technology in the guest rooms, but in the front of house spaces, and certainly F&B, and you know, Robbie may or may not support this thinking. Our kind of approach has been more about the theatrics of lighting and the drama and the kind of mood and the kind of the way it instills, I guess, an emotive response to spaces. And I still see that being more of the demand in the front of house spaces. Then your third part of the question is really about accessibility. I think, you know, over time, this, like in most technologies, you know, things become quite affordable, things become more rolled out, you know, or integrated into, say, guidelines, or, you know, embraced by operators as a standard. I'm sure Diana will have something to say or add to that with 6 senses. But I think there's always a well-being and a wellness approach that should always benefit the end user, being the guest. But I think the front of house spaces, it's almost like a different chapter of the book. We use different rules in terms of trying to create a unique, you know, experience while you're on premises, or something that evokes memory and you want to go back.
Diana, would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think circadian lighting is very interesting. We're exploring that in a couple of our projects. More so when we come to certain environments that are not like, such as our beautiful weather in London, that it's, you know,
it's okay today, actually. I'm just looking outside the window.
Well, it's not too bad today. But I think
you're just used to sunnier climates.
No, not anymore, unfortunately.
3 months in Ibiza.
I fully switched to Britishness now. I talk about the weather all the time. But anyway, no, I think circadian lighting it's something that we're really keen to see more, and the practical aspect to it is something that we do question, because we don't want guests to be confused. We want it to be like a very seamless experience for them. We don't want them to have a complicated experience in terms of controlling the room, or why suddenly my room got really bright. So there are aspects of it that we're, you know, trying to figure out, but it's something that is really, really interesting for us, and we really want to explore more so for the guest rooms, and then perhaps for certain of the public spaces that can be used for meeting areas or for gathering areas, although we don't necessarily do designated meeting rooms, but we like to have flexible spaces where people can do a gathering. And if they need, you know, a certain light to encourage the brain to be a bit more active and a bit more creative, we like to do that, but more as a flexible feature, not so much in the bars, for example, and lobbies where we want to create an ambience. But if it's an add-on feature, I think it's interesting. And in terms of accessibility of costs, definitely. I mean, I think it's now becoming not only cost efficient, but also you hear more about it. Before, there was only 1 or 2 companies doing this really beautiful, but with a bit more of a corporate kind of look. And now we've got it in LED, we've got it in light bulbs. So it's just more and more there. So yeah, definitely agree with Stan. Yeah.
I would just
I think we'll. Oh, yes, Robbie, go on.
No, I'm sorry. I would just add about the theatricality of it. I completely agree, but it's got to be about how the guest feels in that space. And I think that's really, really, and it's got to be absolutely seamless for the operation. You know, there's too many places I go into and people say to me, well, this is breakfast lighting. Even at breakfast, people do not need white lighting. They need a little bit of a yellow glow. I get really upset with, you know, people to forget about it. But equally, you know, operations need to be trained and they need to understand and be, you know, they need to understand why they're doing something and how it makes guests feel. But it's all through the day, and it's not just in public areas. It's at, you know, in bathrooms, in toilets, behind bars, in kitchens, open counters, open kitchens, where you've got things bleeding out. It's absolutely critical. And so many projects I work on, even today, where lighting design is brought in right at the very end or brought in too late. It has to be an integral part of the initial experience design. Going back to our role as conductor, the lighting design is brought in with the interior design and the landscape design. They all have to work together. Absolutely critical. Sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also I think with hotels, well, a lot of hotel brands really want to kind of connect to those spaces. So even in the bathroom, you know, the basin's now being taken outside of the bathroom as such, and it's sort of creating more space, utilizing space. I think more and more so there needs to be that that meeting with lighting, and it needs to flow all the way through. And I also think public areas are big spaces, and that we're talking about a lot of spaces there. We're talking about lobby, F&B, spa. So obviously certain lighting is going to work in certain areas and maybe not others. So yeah, that is all we have got time for. I want to thank everyone who's put forward questions. I obviously want to thank our amazing panel, Justin Wells, Diana Espejo, and Damian Saint and Robbie Bargh. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much. Just a quick reminder that we're going to this session will be available on demand in the next couple of weeks, so look out on the Hotel Designs website. The next session will be on sleep performance. So we've got a sleep expert from Silent Night Group. We've got a number of designers and architects are going to be joining us on that. And that session starts at 11 o'clock. If you haven't yet pre-registered, don't worry. Katie Phillips, our publisher, is now sharing that link in the chat. But this session is about to end, so be quick. And yeah, thank you to everyone. It's been a really great session to really sort of kickstart things, and there's a lot of things I think that we've taken from this session that we can take into the next three events, the next three sessions that are coming up today. So obviously wanted to thank our headline sponsor, Minotti London, and also our session sponsor for today with this session, which is Grower. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at 11 o'clock.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.